What is up, my D&D family? Today I'm going to be doing a blind review of the new spells that come from the Heroes of Faerun book. This means I haven't seen any of these, and you're going to see me analyze them in real time. Here's the tier we're going to be using. Too Good is the top, a Great Spell second, a Situationally Strong Spell is third, Situationally Narrow is fourth, and There's Always a Better Option is fifth. Now, personally, I'm hoping that most spells fall between a Great Spell and Situationally Narrow, because if you think of it as a bell curve, you want most spells to be in that center. So hopefully we don't get too many on the outskirts. The first is Illustriel's Mooncloak. Okay, so we're looking at +2 AC to you and everyone within a 20-foot emanation of you. On top of that, we have cold and lightning and radiant damage resistance. Okay, kind of summing this up, I think if you are facing someone who is commonly using cold, lightning, or radiant damage, this has its place. In all other combats, that does nothing. You get half cover, which is +2 AC, which isn't nothing to you and everyone within a 20-foot emanation of you. That's not nothing, but that is not a 5th level spell with concentration strong. So I think that's a bit weak on its end. Now, we have to be in the situation where this is worth casting in the first place, and then in that moment, we get a Frightened, Grappled, or Restrained condition against us that we failed, and then we get to say, okay, is it worth our whole team losing 2 AC for us to succeed on this Frightened, Grappled, or Restrained condition? And I think more often than not, the answer is probably going to be no, because we cast this to block cold and lightning damage, and it's not like we want to let go of blocking cold and lightning damage just to not be frightened, for example. But there's going to be times where it is. I just feel like more often than not, it's going to be, if we cast this, we probably want to keep it up. Then we have Respite, which is a magic action. So not only do we have to cast an action to get the spell going, now we have to do a second action to heal. They are going to regain 4d10 plus your spellcasting ability modifier. And for a 5th level spell, that's pretty freaking low. Because, I mean, that's comparing against something like Aura Vitality, right? Which is doing 2d6 every turn. Yeah, this is a little bit more of a burst heal. But if you want a burst heal, you can do something like Mass Cure Wounds or Mass Healing Word. And both of those are going to do this job better. I feel like this one falls into Situationally Narrow. There are situations where this stands out, specifically if you're in a fight that is going to be focusing on radiant, lightning, or cold damage. Now think to yourself, in the last 100 fights you've had in D&D, how many were really apparently cold and lightning damage? Or radiant, which is the least likely. I think your answer is not many. So that puts it into the Situationally Narrow. Today's video of D&D Daily is sponsored by D&D Daily. What we're offering up today is called Dragon's Digest. It is the single biggest piece of content that I've ever been a part of, and it is 23 pages packed to the brim full of haunting advice for DMs. It has a one-shot, has a pretty amazing boss fight, if I do say so myself, as well as a bunch of other stuff. I think you're going to really, really enjoy it. If you want some cool content as well as supporting the channel, you can buy it in the description down below, probably in the pinned comment, probably elsewhere, but yeah, maybe it's even popping up right here. I don't know. But you'll be able to find it if you just look around a little bit on your screen. And without further ado, back to the video. Next up we have Backlash. This is a level 4 abjuration spell for bards, sorcerers, warlocks, and wizards. So this is really in a class of its own that we really don't get many 4th level reactions. And I know 4th level spells aren't the best in general, but you can always upcast a 3rd level spell, which are the best in general. I feel like I like that this one does its own thing. It's doing something brand new, so there has to be builds where it makes sense to take, but it also is weak for its spell level. So it's hard to say there's always a better option because it's doing something brand new. Situationally Narrow could be fair, because even situationally it's not that strong. So I think it is better than Mooncloak, but I do think it is still Situationally Narrow. Moving on. Next up we got Blade of Disaster. This is a level 9 conjuration spell for sorcerer, warlock, or wizards. Interesting. So this is spiritual weapon on meth. And it combos with Wall of Force. So when do you take this over Wish is the first question that has to come into my head. And the answer is if you want to specialize in murdering people. Wish is pretty good at murdering people. This is fantastic, especially when comboed with Wall of Force, which Warlock should have fairly easy access to that. Some sorcerers get it and all wizards get it. So I do think this one belongs as a 9th level spell. It's like, if you're that late in the game, do you deserve the ability to absolutely destroy something that is, you know, singular damage? You're not hitting a whole bunch of people. The answer is yeah. And so I feel like this has its place. It does single target murdering better than anything else. I think Blade of Disaster is a great spell, but it's not too good. It's just fine for where it's at. Next up, we got Cacophonic Shield. Okay, so what this is this is the Wizard, Sorcerer, Bard version of Spirit Guardians from the Cleric. Now it has a 5 foot less emanation. Instead of 3d8, it would be 3d6, so it does less damage. And you don't have control over people's movements. But what you do have is everyone who attacks you at range, it's at disadvantage. So let's think about a Blade Singer for a second. So now you're up close, you have a bajillion AC. You're going to be doing extra damage with this. And it kind of self-synergizes with itself, because if they want to stay away from you, they can attack you at range. But of course, now it's at disadvantage with 1,000,000 AC. They're not hitting you. It's going to be so rare that they hit you at all. Okay, now they come up close to attack you, fight you one-on-one. They're still unlikely to hit you, but you're dealing damage because they're there. And it can stack, you know, if people are moving you in and out in different turns, and so you can get this 3d6 of damage over and over again. My feeling is this is not as good as Spirit Guardians, but I hate that they're giving Bard, Sorcerer, and Wizard this, because this is stepping. It's not quite as good as Spirit Guardians, but it's basically Spirit Guardians -1. And I don't like that they're taking something that is so crucial for clerics and giving it to Bard, Sorcerers, and Wizards. So I'm not excited about this. Too good is very possible. I think it's less about it being a game-breaking spell. Is it better than Hypnotic Pattern? No. And I think it's more about it being too good for the classes it's given to, where it steps on the toes of their other classes. So I'm not excited about this. It's either a great spell or too good. Man, that's tricky. I'm a DM and my player casts Hypnotic Pattern versus this. Which one am I more scared of? I'm more scared of Hypnotic Pattern, which is probably too good, to be fair. I think I'm going to keep this in too good, even though I think arguably it's just a great spell. But the reason I'm going to keep it in too good is I feel like I like these 3 middle ones. I say it's good design if it's within these 3. And then if it's either in this one or this one, it wasn't the most well-designed feature, and that's my opinion on this spell, is it's not the best designed. Next up we have Conjure Constructs. This takes an action, and this is wizards only. The problem with it is not only do you have to use an action to get the spell going, then you have to use an action on every single turn afterwards to do its effect again. So let me ask you, would you rather cast a fireball, or would you rather deal 3d6 force damage to a single target? The answer is pretty frickin' obvious. So how many turns in a row would you have to spend your action to get this to match a fireball? I mean, if you hit 3 people, you're looking at 9 turns. This has to be garbage. I do not see a place for this. I feel like there's always a better option. That's gotta be trash. One of the fun things about doing this raw is, like, who knows, maybe that spell ends up with its niche, and maybe I'm totally wrong, but looking at it where I'm at right now, I cannot see how. Which will be fun if I ever learn. Next up we got Death Armor. If this didn't have a 50 gold cost every time you cast it, it would have its place. It wouldn't be better than the best 2nd level spells, but it would have its place. As it stands, I cannot justify spending 50 gold on this every single time. I think there is always a better option. Now the question is Conjure Constructs or Death Armor worse? And they're both really terrible, but I actually think Death Armor is better. On the plus side, we're not seeing too much power creep here. I feel like the designers are keeping in mind, hey, let's not step on the toes of the main handbook too quickly, because that always sucks. Next up, we have Darian's Helpful Homunculi. This is an action or a ritual, because we have a new level 2 ritual, which is exciting. This is for clerics and wizards. Okay, my issue with this is the 100 gold pieces cost per cast. Because my question to you is this, is if you had an ally, if you went to your ally and said, hey, I'll pay you 100 gold pieces to help me work on my magic item for 8 hours, would you do it? The answer is probably yes. Now, I don't understand all the mechanics behind assisting magic item creation, and bonus to this spell that it does something brand new. It's hard for me to evaluate because I've had zero experience with spells that help us craft things better. My initial impression is that if our ally counts as a single assistant, which I imagine they do, then the cost in order to get an extra assistant is too high. Because you could, I mean, most allies will just do it because they love you, but maybe 25 gold, maybe 50 gold, but 100 gold per cast, and then they would do it for more than 8 hours. So I just feel like an ally replaces this completely. I feel like this has got to go into situationally narrow though, because maybe I don't understand the rules the best, and maybe there are situations where this is actually really, really cool, because I do think crafting items is really, really cool. I think there's a good chance this belongs, and there's always a better option, but I'm gonna give it the benefit of the doubt and put it into situationally narrow. Next up we have Dirge. Interesting. So this is Spirit Guardians version 2. It does less damage than an upcast Spirit Guardians. It has a way bigger range, quadruple the range, like a massive range. They get a better save, but even if they succeed the save, their speed is still halved, which is the same as Spirit Guardians. And if they fail, they get the prone condition, which is the same as their speed being halved, except all melee attacks have advantage against them. So the question is, are you more focused on control or damage or AoE? If you're more focused on control or damage or AoE, excuse me, this spell could make more sense than just upcasting Spirit Guardians for the cleric side. For the bard side, they're just kind of happy to have an emanation, although I suppose they do have a brand new one at level 3, although I do think this one's significantly better. My one caveat on this is it's pretty low damage for the level. 3d10 at level 6 is not a lot. We're at 3d8 at level 3 with Spirit Guardians, to put that in perspective. So on average, you're looking at 3 damage less for a spell that is 3 spell levels lower. Okay, so this spell does get pretty nutty when it's circle cast. You can make everyone, oh wow, that is brutal. You can make everyone make a save. If they fail the save, they get exhaustion. Now, are they likely to fail that save? It's Constitution, so who knows? Probably not. But if they did, then the exhaustion plays into their next save. It gets -2 on their next save. And if they fail that one, that's -2 on their next save, -2 on their next save, -2 on their next save. So in a long fight, this can get a ton of value. Now, in order to get this, we're using 2 4th level spell slots and a level 6 spell slot. My guess is, as powerful as that is, it's probably just better to cast 2 level 4 spells in this spell in and of itself. You know, you got that circle side and you got the normal side, so it's just a question of how it comes together. I think it has to be in a great spell, because this is Spirit Guardians with 4 times the range and just less damage, and a little bit more control, because you can end up making people go prone. And that's a great spell. Is it better than Blade of Disaster? No. I think it's going to be right there. That's a great spell. I think I'm going to evaluate that one completely without the circle spell portion of it. I think that's the way to go. And it's still a great spell. If your allies feel like giving you those 2 4-level spell slots, then you can do some really crazy stuff with that for prolonged combats. Alright, next up we got Doomtide. This is a level 4 conjuration for bards, clerics, and warlocks. So we create this inky sphere that we throw at someone within a mile, but it takes forever to get there. Everything about the circle spell casting in this is freaking weird. So I'm going to ignore it. 5d6 is decent for 4th level to hit multiple different enemies, and it puts them in inky fog, so they're in darkness, but then it moves away from them. So the question is, how good is the darkness? Because this is either just inferior to Fireball in every single situation, or the darkness has to put in work. And if the darkness is putting in work, then why do you want to move it, right? It's like, if the darkness right here is screwing over my enemies, why do I want to push it away 10 feet? You don't, is the answer. I think this is too convoluted. It's trying to do too many things at once, and it doesn't do any particularly well. And some of the features in it actually makes it do things you don't want it to do, like float away from the combat for example, I don't like this spell. I think there's always a better option. I think Fireball is an easy example of there's always a better option. Darkness is always a better option. If you want damage, Fireball is always a better option. If you want the darkness, Darkness is always a better option. Elminster's Effulgent Spheres. Oh, wow, that's not very good. Oh, I was hoping that would be much better damage. That damage is pitiful. I do like the resistance side of it, but if you're playing with Absorb Elements, I would rather cast 3 first level spells versus 1 6th level spell. Yeah, I think this is way too singular in what it does for level 6, meaning it's either just going to protect you or just increase your damage by honestly a pitiful amount. And it's going to do nothing else for a level 6 spell, keeping in mind that there's level 3 spells that are affecting the whole battlefield. There's no way this is good. I do not see a place where this shines. I think maybe you can use this as a really long-lasting absorb elements in very particular boss fights, but I think that is so narrow that it can't go into situationally narrow. I mean, arguably, it can go into the back end of situationally narrow, but is it better than Doomtide? No, it's not. So I'm going to put it into Effulgence. I'm going to put it into there's always a better option in between Doomtide and Death Armor. Next up, we have Elfminster's Illusion. This is going to be what I call a rubber band clause. How often are you coming up against spellcasters? Frankly, not often. More often than not, you're coming up against monsters with a spellcaster here and there. So the question is, does your DM define, let's say, Dragon Breath as a magical effect? Sometimes the answer is going to be yes, and sometimes the answer is going to be no. If the answer is yes, this gets a lot more value. I think this is decent in that case, on par with level 2. If the answer is no, then it's pretty bad, because you're just not going to face magical effects that often, and that's the only way you get value out of this. And since it's a defensive feature, like, here's the thing about defensive features, is if they're specific, you have to run into the specific situation, in which case you already knew that you were going to have to use this particular defensive feature. So offensive features are always just a little bit better because you just know that they're going to do something in every single combat where this one wouldn't. I can't say this is horrible. I think situationally narrow is a pretty safe place for this to go. I do think its situation is arguably better than Backlash though, so I think we're around there. Next up is the Holy Star of Mystra. Okay, this is solid. I wasn't super excited about this at first, but 4d10 is just not that much damage, but as a bonus action over and over and over and over again, it's kind of like an extra cantrip every single turn. But what sold me is the 3/4 cover. That means we have +5 AC. Now level 8 is very high. We're competing with some pretty huge spells, like Wall of Force is in this category. And I know that's earlier, but like Wall of Force or what is it, Cage of Force, whatever it is, we're dealing with some massive spells here. But this does enough cool things. It gives you a bonus action attack, it gives you +5 AC, gives you +5 to dexterity saves, and gives you an ability that reflects spells, which won't come up often. But this, I can't say it's crazy good, because again, we're dealing with things like Wall of Force. But it's not situationally narrow. You can use that. So you can use it anywhere. It's not situational, but it's just not the most powerful of non-situational spells. So it's probably a great spell, maybe a situationally strong spell. Even though it's not situational, it's just a strong spell. I think because it's not situational, we kind of have to take it to, like, what makes it situational is that we would want to cast Wall of Force instead. And I think more often than not, you're going to want to. So it's like, when Wall of Force sucks, this is a strong spell. Okay, alright, I sold myself, it's a situationally strong spell. Next up we have Laerel's Silver Lance. This is directly competing with Lightning Bolt and Fireball, and it fails both. 3d10 is abysmally low. We're against 8d6 on both ends. 8d6 crushes 3d10. And Fireball has way better AoE effect. So this basically competes with Lightning Bolt, which already doesn't get play and is arguably worse than it. I don't see a place that this stands. I think there's always a better option, but I do think it's better than Doomtide. Next up, we have symbols. Why did they put this word in this game? Who, like, screw you guys. Sinostad Wiomer. I don't love this. This is a level 7 spell, and they have to use their own resource to get any healing out of it. I don't like that they're giving more healing to sorcerers and wizards. Like, they don't need it. They have plenty going on. I hate this spell. I hate its name, I hate its effect, I hate the design, and even at the end of the day, it's just weak. Like, if you are having a campaign where there's only one combat, I can see using this hit point dice, get a bunch of extra healing, okay, but it's still a level 7 spell slot. I hate everything about this spell. I think there's always a better option. I don't think it's as good as Silverlance, Doomtide, Effulgent Spheres, Death Armor, Conjure. I think it's the worst of all of these. I hate that spell. Stonegall's Elemental Suffusion. The problem with this one is the casting time for circle casting, so we're going to ignore it. You're not going to be able to circle cast in combat, and so that means you're going to have to predict exactly which damage type you need to protect against. There are situations like where you're going up against a red dragon, but are you going to be able to do it 10 minutes before that combat? It's just too situational, so we're going to evaluate it without it. So we're going to gain resistance, even though it's called elemental immunity, it's only resistance, to deal a little bit of damage in a pulse and do a little bit of control in a pulse. We're going to get Fly. So Fly is a 3rd level spell slot. The Elemental Pulse is like a mediocre 3rd level spell slot. This actually has a place for anti-air, because it helps you fly up in the air, and then it helps you knock enemies prone, which if they're flyers means they're falling. So this is a great anti-air spell. And even without an anti-air, you're getting flight plus things on top of it. So sometimes you need flight, which is a third level spell, but you're getting flight plus kind of a continual 3rd level spell of control and damage, even though the damage is pretty pitiful. This has its uses. This is good enough to be on spell lists. I think its strongest use case is flying. I think there are use cases outside of it, but I think there's a lot of spells that are better. So I don't know if I can say it's a great spell. I think it's a situationally strong spell. We got a level 1 evocation spell for Spellfire Flare for sorcerers and wizards. So it's really reminiscent of a cantrip. It doesn't do anything too extra. It goes through cover, I guess. It's kind of reminiscent of Guiding Bolt without the advantage. Oh man, I can't rate this too high. It's a bit of a damage dealer. It's an improvement on cantrips, so which means it's basically only going to have its main value between levels 1 and 4. And there are so many better spells you can be doing between levels 1 and 4. I don't think there's always a better option. I do think that if you just want to be dealing raw damage with your 1st level spell slots, this has its place, but I do think it's situationally narrow. I think it's around there. Next up we have Spellfire Storm. My thinking is that most people, if they want to cast a spell, can just walk out of it. Yeah, this really reminds me of Moonbeam. I think the damage is okay, especially if you have teammates who move people in and out of that damage. So it kind of becomes like a cheese grater enabler. I think the ability to kind of ruin spellcasters is limited by the fact that they have to be in the AoE. I feel like this is a good spell, but I don't think it's a crazy spell. Yeah, I think this definitely goes into a situationally strong spell. I do think it's probably more powerful than Elemental Suffusion, though. Alright, next up we got Selune's Viper. Okay, so this is for a backline caster, druid and wizard. Makes sense. But it's giving us a 50-foot range, basically continual cast of Ray of Sickness, which is one of my favorite 1st level spells. So basically you're debuffing one single enemy per turn, doing a little bit of extra damage. I like this one. I don't know if the power level is crazy, but I like it. Because imagine all your allies are tangled up in this big mix between enemies and allies, and getting off a fireball, for example, wouldn't be great, or hypnotic pattern, because you're hitting so many allies. So instead we can use this to just sway the battle in one direction. We're helping damage against our enemies, and we're helping our allies not get hit. This is definitely for a backline caster. We don't want to be getting our temp HP removed, because just losing the temp HP ends the spell, which is crappy, even if we have great concentration. So this is for just staying in the back and continually debuffing an enemy. I think it's a situationally strong spell, but I think it's the better of the situationally strong spells. All right, we got our final one, Ward Away. Funny, I mentioned Ray of Sickness because this is what we're going to be comparing this to. This is a Ray of Sickness-like effect. A little bit of damage, but you're mostly here for the debuff. So we're poison versus their speed is halved, and on its next turn you can only take a action or a bonus action. That only matters if they're using a bonus action, which a lot of creatures don't. So this is just worse than Ray of Sickness. So we can't put it into a great spell because it is just worse. Situationally, against somebody who has a bonus action and their speed is halved, they care about speed a lot. I can see that helping there. I think it's a situationally strong spell, but I'm going to put it around. All right, here we go. So this is the end of my initial tier list. All of this is subject to change, of course. This is my first impression, so as I learn more about the game, these might adjust here and there. But my opinion, I don't like the ones on top and on bottom. I like these ones in here. That's typically where I want the design to have my spells. Cacophonic Shield, I hate. I don't want wizards doing what clerics are doing. I just feel like wizards can do freaking everything, and it bugs me. They're giving them healing spells, they're giving them their AoE emanation spells, they're giving them AC out the damn ass. So yeah, I don't like what they're doing with wizards. And then these are all just too weak. They weren't thought of. And this one, because I can't pronounce it, I think it has a special place in hell in my heart. So that's why it's at the bottom. Alright, but all the other ones I'm pretty proud of. I think they did a good job with everything in the middle. Am I as satisfied with the new spells as I am the new subclasses? The answer is no. I think these spells are a lot less exciting to me than the new subclasses. But overall, I think it's still a solid book. Not only are there new subclasses, new spells, and all that jazz, there's also some cool lore. I like the lore on the factions and on the regions. So if you want a book that just teaches you a little bit more about the Forgotten Realms, I recommend picking it up. And I do think we have a link down below if you want to support the channel while you're getting the book. That'd be dope. Alright, but that's it for this video. Until next time, my friends, catch you on the next one. Peace.